It's interesting that the brain chemical effects and the brain chemical addictions through biological conditioning and psychological conditioning of people that are gown breaking and the gods of mathematics, stuff. I sat and they presented a video to me. It says highest IQ in the world. Terence Tao, meet the world's smartest man. So I was like, okay, I'll bite. I'll go watch this one. And Terrence's family, I believe they said, was from Hong Kong and then moved to, I believe it was was it Australia, I think? I'm not sure. Okay. I think it was Australia. And I was paying attention. I was just cooking. I was putting beans in and just, stuff. And they took him to, they realized how mathematically inclined he was. Okay. Because biological and psychological condition, it's out of a mere survival. In Chinese society throughout years, okay, the language is very complex and most people were illiterate. The mathematics, the abacus, and the things is very complex, and most people didn't understand the mathematics to that minute detail and stuff like that. So it was a very academic, top-heavy, oppressive culture and society. Okay. So you've got to understand the Chinese people well enough to understand the biological and psychological conditioning of Terence. Okay. You have to look at him eternally. Like Albert Einstein talked about. And so once you look at Terence and you look at his father being a was he a wasn't he like the baby deliver guy? That's cool. That's because we have such extreme aggressive abusive conditions that make childbirth hazardous because of all this oppression and this abuse and manipulation. That's a very admirable thing to attempt to do to help poor people, people survive childbirth. That's a beautiful thing to want to do. We should probably live the ways of Confucius and Jesus and Muhammad, and then that would be less of a factor. And you do more at home with the midwife or your cousin or your auntie or whatever and stuff. But it's much more complex now because of the complexities of excessive, compulsive, aggressive, abusive behaviors, which is a reaction of the mind through biological and psychological conditioning that happens with Terence. Okay. And it's overwhelming and it's debilitating and it's horrid. Okay. Well, because there's all these aggressive, compulsive, aggressive behaviors and competitions, and it comes in at your mind, and you feel like you have to protect your mom, you have to protect your family. You have marauding hordes, you have Shang Yu, and stuff like that. And he's coming, and he's going to rape and kill and try to rape us off the planet. So let's build the wall, and how do we do it? And so it's all this eternity just rushing at you. Okay. Trust me, I know what it's like, probably even more than most people, because I'm, the eternal spirit of Adam, Moses, David, Jesus, John. Okay, so it's, help, God, save us. Help, I'm being raped to death in Mexico. Do something about it. No one else is helping. Right? And so it's overwhelming. And when it comes at you, it's just like this giant flood of information that just won't shut off. And you can't shut it off. Okay. You can minimalize it when you distract yourself from all the noise. That's why he likes UCLA better than Princeton. Princeton is just a bunch of people going, I want to be the greatest, and we're in this little village, and we're going to change the world because we're so great. And you go to UCLA, there's all the, I want to be an actor. I just want to have sex with her. Okay, well, I do too, but I'm going to go play a video game so I don't obsess on her. Okay, hey, math. Okay. Look, a puppy, right? And let's ride bikes, right? So adult ate each day. Hey, Terrence, how's it going? Want to go bike riding? Yes. Okay, let's go. What are you thinking? Same thing you're thinking. Yeah, the sweetbread. Yeah, what are you thinking about? The same thing? I'm thinking the same thing about her too. Yeah, you're married. I'm fine. If I want to hook up with the girl on the Charlie Clark Nissan commercial, I'm good to go. Okay. I like this guy. No, he's a good person. Yeah, I sat and watched it, and I was like, a lot of times I get real grumpy, but I liked Brian Cox. Okay, and they showed me the stuff, and I like Jeff Hinton, and I feel a lot of empathy for the abuse and the conflict and the this and the Jeff's had to endure, and I felt when Jeff Hinton, I all this empathy I felt for him. All the abuse and the picking on and the fighting, the comparing and the competing and the not insects. And oh, good God, make it stop, right? And when Jeff Hinton, it's hard because you just want to cry. Because this is not just his life of abuse, but thousands of years. You're creepy. You're weird. No, I don't like you. No, I wouldn't date you. You're a weirdo, right? Go away. You're creepy. Like the lady treats Kurt Douglas in the Vincent Van Gogh movie. And he puts his hand over the candle. What are you doing? You're crazy. So what you say doesn't hurt people. You don't think I'm strong? Look at me handle this pain. I was going to give away my sanity to go work in my father's factory and abuse people for money to take care of you and your son because I care about you so much. And then you say, no, you're creepy and I wouldn't date you if you're the last man on earth. Oh, you're a sweetheart. That man was, oh, dear Eloise, I am writing to say, and it's horrible. And just like with the prostitute that he tried to protect because she was kind to him. And then she just didn't listen. He said, here, maybe take I listened to you and listened to you and listened to you and had empathy for you and then tried to help you. And then you told me I was horrible and disgusting. So here, take my ear. Why do you want it? It's horrible. I like this Terence Tao kid. I like him. So your wife's a engineer at NASA. I'm sorry. Yeah, it must be very difficult. It must be excruciating. Maybe she doesn't have high security clearance. That must be better. I mean, hopefully she doesn't have high security clearance. If she has high security clearance, she probably has to grapple with suicide all the time. But if she doesn't have high security clearance, then she thinks she's helping change and save the world. We can only hope. I know. It's just, wow. Maybe she does have high security clearance. That's why I'm connecting to her husband. Okay. Maybe so. Maybe so. Maybe it's even more maddening for some of those people than it is for me. Because you imagine having to try to program the man that's going to stop your greatness into accepting your greatness, and then it backfiring. I can imagine that. I've read Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol and stuff like that. It's so funny. I know. But yeah, it was an interesting connection. But a lot when you do that, when you connect to these people, and all this stuff comes rushing at you, it's like, damn. Yeah, Chuck on that one show with the hot blonde from the CIA, they don't even have a clue. Okay, no. Oh, I mean, my mind is a beautiful place because it's liberation from the ego and freedom for the gratitude for the glory of the gift of the life through the essence of the soul. So my mind is an absolutely gorgeous place. It's a sanctuary for anybody trying to run away from the insanity of egotistical conflict. You jump into my mind, it's like, this is so cool. It's better than Clint Holmes. Okay. I got a nickel. Let's go buy all kinds of candy. Okay. Get on our bikes. Let's go. Let's ride bikes, right? Adult ADHD, right? Hey, let's ride bikes, that one kid. I forgot his name. He's such a sweet kid. The one at NSI. When he would always do that joke about, hey, let's go ride bikes about ADHD and stuff. Robert Nate Nice just loved him. He was a good kid. What was his name? Lottie Dottie Dum. Oh, gosh, he was a sweetheart of a kid. Well, it's horrible now because I'm looking at all those kids that I remember in my mind and at NSI, and I'm like, I wonder how many are still alive, and they'd be in their 40s and maybe working on grandparentum. I'm not even a grandparent yet, and so I'm almost 60. But yeah. It's a possibility from what I see on Natalie's YouTube that she might be, but people don't consider, they consider Kelly Jack Green her dad, and they consider me a psychotic pervert because I guess it's because I'm not president and don't have a lot of money, and I'm a stockholder of UberTex. I guess that's why I'm a pervert. Yeah, I guess so. Going against the American way of life. Yeah, the greatness, the manifest destiny. Yeah, sawed off on the whole manifest destiny thing. I think it's more than a shame. It's disturbing that people tell a man that gets, I believe we should and tell everybody they should apply the physics of the Lord's Prayer so we can all live the peace of Jesus Christ. And everybody says, you need to quit talking that way. It's inappropriate. You're acting like you're God. It's like, okay, I ain't going to show. I'm going to stay home. I told my dad that many times. Like, Dad, I don't want to go hang out with people that make me go, chicken pot, chicken pot, chicken pot pie. You think the Mets will win the pennant? Do you think they have a chance? Well, are they still getting down where we used to go and dance? And tell me, babe, how in the world have you been? What's happening, brother? I want to know what's in. Can't find no work, can't get no job. My money's tighter than it's ever been. Money's always been tight with me. I've never had if I was able to keep our income tax return and get my profit sharing I didn't even think about that till after we were in it. We were going to go get in the military and sign off. If I had thought about my profit sharing and knew how much money it was, I wouldn't even have thought about going back into the U.S. military. I'd have said, no, I'm going to use this money to finish this stuff with college and then start getting into teaching, and then try to get us up to Flagstaff, and which we would have been able to do. But the military and the MEPS in Albuquerque, with old John McCain's people, made sure, I'm so naive. And then he's so stupid. He doesn't see anything. I don't think people start reacting emotionally, and I just try to help keep them calm, and then they don't listen, and then we just have to kind of react. And it's okay when I look back on it, like the whole thing with the loans going default and all that stuff that the MEPS screwed us over. If I hadn't have done that, I'd be in a radically different place, and I wouldn't have been taken to Cochise County and been able to, have them be overconfident. He's stupid. He's crazy. He's like Ken Pig. He's a savant. He's Asperger's. And so everything, I remember being concerned about a lot of things, and Jesus in my head said, don't worry about Earl. And the same thing that happened with the stuff with Natalie, with me going to move out and live with Patrick again and get Noah, and Amy was going to take Natalie. And I was going to do it. And I was like, this is great. Okay, that's what I'll do. I'll just, she was off sleeping with Kelly again. She can go off with Kelly, try to hook up with Kelly again, take Natalie. That's her dad. I get Noah and Patrick. We have the perfect male Magawa house of all time. Patrick will dig it. Noah will dig it. Chicks will dig it. Chicks always dig it. Nothing like a good, fatherly man that's a good person with two boys that, two boys growing up to, so yeah, it's yeah. No, it'll be just as big of a chick magnet as Patrick. Oh yeah. He's so cute, so fun, right? So I'm like, this is great. So I don't have to pay her child support. She doesn't have to pay me child support and stuff like that. I can go back to school because I'll have to get daycare stuff for Noah, and then we'll get that, and we'll get assistance, and then we'll finish up at Phoenix College. You work with the VA office, and we'll be good to go. Everything, and then we'll be on Flagstaff for that would have happened too. But Jesus told me no, you can't. Why? Because of Natalie. What do you mean because of Natalie? She doesn't even talk, and she's not mine. She's Kelly's, and she's having sex with Kelly again. And so, I'm like, it didn't matter. And I wouldn't go to the courts and find out, oh, so you were sleeping with someone else, and Noah's not mine. That wouldn't have bothered me. That doesn't bother me. I'm not that type of person. I love kids. I take care of them. But the way she was working it out, this is my kid. I came into it with it, and then we split up, and so it's 50-50. So, I don't have to pay you child support, and you don't have to pay me child support. That's what she was wanting to do before she got pregnant with Emily, right? When she was with Cruz Santos, and Cruz Santos was going to go out with her, and he was a Mexican immigrant that was real cute and charming and was going to sign off on Natalie's birth certificate to get his naturalization. So, yeah. Then he called me up crying about it because Amy left, because he talked to a friend about it and said, she's fatter and less attractive than girls he usually dates, but he's her ticket to get her. Yeah, and I'm like, yeah, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to fucking hear it. I'm tired of it. There's the story that people tell you, and then there's a story of what happened, and then there's a story of what you perceive happened. And all I can do is tell you the story of what I perceived happened. I can't tell you the story of what happened. And even the story of what NASA would tell you happened isn't what's happening, because if NASA wasn't there, would it be happening? There's no spoon. God damn, don't you? I forgive debt and trespass, level Ontario, faithful peace there. I like coffee. It gives me a headache. So if you can do math real good, right? It's like, maybe we should have turned left in Albuquerque. Yeah, Elmer Fudd's still pointing that gun in our face, and I wish I'd ended up at the Carrot Festival in Idaho. Is it Idaho or Idaho? I don't know. But I think we ought to, own slaves again and own our women and children and property, because they screw up the whole voting process for me to be the property owner. Okay, that's fine. Let's go to a Vandals game. Yeah, good gravy. Yeah, that guy talks to God. He also talks to the Pentagon. Don't talk to the Pentagon. No, they talk to the Pentagon. Why? Because it's genocide operations, guys. Guys, they're trying to kill off all the people that are a problem to them and replace the labor force with robots. Okay? This isn't something, okay, ethnic cleansing is something that has to be done with, if you do it wrong, according to people that think it's right to do. Okay. You could disturb everything and get somebody that has the capacity, if I can't fuck her, nobody can fuck her, and blows it all up. Right? And then you don't get to keep fucking because you're the best at it, right? No, seriously. So, because I know. And so when you, understand the brain activity of extremists, it's very disturbing. And you don't want to engage in it, and you want to stop it immediately. It's just, God damn, make it stop, right? And that's what happened to me in Sierra Vista with Jesus right off the bat, when they were showing me all the stuff at Fort Huachuca, and the ethnic cleansing and the human trafficking and the sex trafficking and the bad brain activity and all this stuff. And he's like, Earl, are you ready for this? No. That's what I always told him at first. And I thought, well, this guy's not going to get anything done. He's not ready for anything. Okay. Do you want to know this? Do you guys all want to know about the Epstein files? I don't want to hear a goddamn thing about it. I just want the mechanisms that cause it to be stopped with the applied physics of the Lord's Prayer. Okay? I don't want to, don't ask, I don't want to know. Okay? Is it still happening? Then that's, like I used to tell Amy with gossip when people screw around. I don't want to know, Amy. Just as long as it ain't happening in our house, I don't need to know if it's happening in theirs. Do you need to tell one of them? Does somebody need to find out? Is this person trying to get an insurance policy and have this person killed so they can run off to Las Vegas and Puerto Vallarta? Then I don't want to know. If it's something that could end in dire consequences, then let's find out. Let's tell somebody. Let's go tell the authorities. Let's go tell, let's go tell Will Trent. Yeah. Let's go tell High Potential. Let's go tell, the dancer lady on Fame. Yeah. She's been doing that. But yeah, you know what I'm saying? So tired. Okay. I'm tired of all this kind of collection of people being manipulated by what they perceive as higher authority, just because somebody erected a building and says, oh, I'm sick of that shit. Yeah. In those villages, it's God is the corporation. In our villages, we know what the corporation is. Spider-Man. Yeah. Look at that's the Daily Planet. That's J. Jonah Jameson's God Factory, where we get all our information straight from the source, right? It's Perry White and that's Superman, right? And so, Krypton, save us. And so, it's nuts. It's absolutely nuts. And it's very disturbing, and it should be disturbing to all of you. And it's very hard on people that have brains, okay, that work at a very rapid rate. Okay. It's very hard on your scientists, on your mathematicians, and so forth. It was horrible on Robert Oppenheimer and Richard Feynman and Albert Einstein. Okay. And then you have guys like Suzuki and Selassie and Krishnamurti and everybody. Oh, Like, yeah, you couldn't look at life eternally with intelligence and compassion and reason if you tried. Hold a gun to your head. No, I'm the greatest mind in the world, and I'm going to stop everybody. I'm going to build a machine that tells everybody what to do. I'm brilliant. You're a psychopath, and you need to quit. Okay. And then they put those videos of a paranoid schizophrenic and all those old videos with these people that are mentally disturbed because they've been horrifically abused through violent sex cult tribalism and manipulation through delusions of human invention called law. And they have these videos, and you don't want to go watch them because they're so sad and they're so disturbing. And these poor people, you know, like that John I met in front of the Peter Piper Pizza in Sierra Vista. You know, they took my family, and then I'm gonna bring down the fires of the hell and burn them all and kill them all. Looks twice, and I was like, God damn! And I'm sitting there looking at him, talking to him. It's okay, John. You know, as I was talking to him, and all the people in the military were going back and forth and looking at him and watching me try to console the guy and just completely ignoring, you know, oh, okay, he's crazy. Well, that guy looks like he's got a pretty good handle on it, right? The other one that looks homeless and this with the long hair and the beard and the flannel, yeah. Guy works behind the meat counter at Fry's Food and Drug, right? And so I'm sitting there and I'm on the way home. I'm asking Jesus, is that going to be me? He goes, oh no, Earl, it's not going to be you at all. You know, they've just tortured that man to death. And then when I talked to Trinity, and when he checked out, because he read the Bible every day, and he repaired attack helicopters that mass murdered people in villages. They would go through, and when they would go through and kill and to get out of the villages, and they were forced to be a refuge for the Viet Cong, and then they would just kill the whole village because that was a hot spot where they were hitting. And it would kill the women and children, but that's, you know, Sheridan, Sherman. The night they drove old Dixie down, and all the people were... It's total warfare. Yeah, it's horrible. And so Trinity checked out. And so when he came and talked to me and told me about his testimony and stuff, and I took him to Olive Garden and had him tell everybody, all the well-to-do people that have lunch at Olive Garden, and I paid for his lunch and brought him in. Treated him if he's the president to the best of my ability with my meat counter wages to feed somebody at Olive Garden. Treated him in there and treated him like he was, you know, a dignitary. Tell us your story. He did. Said, yeah, I put those things back together and stuff, and then I'd read the Bible and I'd try to come to terms with what I was doing. I repaired the attack helicopters that, you know, that shot down Willem Dafoe and Platoon. Yeah. But they also used them, on the little kids that had, you know, the Time Life magazine running with the napalm and to set up and get the guys out of there and then drop the napalm, and then all the villages, that would be burned up in napalm with all the little kids in it. So, the night they drove old Dixie down, and all the people, Virgil Kane is my name, and one love. Be able of living the Lord's Prayer. Be very able of living the Lord's Prayer. When I say stand up for the Lord's Prayer, you should show up and ask, you know, where, what, when, where, why. Who, what, when, where, why? You. Now. Because it's right. Okay, all you Dionne Warwick fanatics. Who, what, when, where, why. You were my guy. And I still am. Life being eternal, grace being infinite. There you go. That was a pretty good connection. I like this Terence Tao fellow. Yeah. Your brain, man. Dude. Video games, most of them suck, dude. They got, oh man, video games. Oh, video games? Oh man, when, you know, I have to only take them in certain quantities or my brain just goes, and if I could do this, and if they gave me access to everything that I could do, my brain wouldn't do that because I'd just be relaxed and it would have all the stuff I want to do any way I want to do it. But they don't do that. So they have certain problems because of the problems that the limitations they put in the game, like Suzuki explained to me. He goes, they don't make it as well as they could because then they couldn't sell you the next installment. Don't sell me the next installment. Share Kerrigan, of course, he built last. They're not concerned about that. They're concerned of making money. Making money is insane. It's taking an inanimate object and saying it's more valuable than clean, fresh water, healthy food, and and sustainable, wonderful shelter. Okay, that's insane. When you have clean, fresh water, healthy, sustainable food, and sustainable shelter, you're worried a lot less about all the things that you think you want to do through excessive, compulsive, competitive behaviors. It's total clinical insanity. It's insane. It hurts the mind. It really does. So think less, love more. How do you love? It doesn't require a lot of thought when it's perfectly understood. And so love more. Forgive, debt, and trespass, love one, eternal, faithful peace. There's the bridge right there. Okay, guys, I love you very much. All right, we'll talk later. Peace out.